Hey guys, it's Wayne here from EMO Lives, and today I'm sitting on the couch with Bruce from Hunsaker. Bruce?
Bruce. Hunsaker Home Hacks.
Thank you very much. I'm tongue-tied. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, we're in Phoenix, Arizona at the moment. This is Bruce's native city. I'm from Sydney, Australia, and we're just over here visiting family for my wife. And Bruce and I have taken a little bit of time to catch up the last couple of days and spent the time together. And we've recorded some bits and pieces that we think might be interesting for you guys out there, that all around robots and robotics and home automation and things like that.
Yeah.
Bruce?
So we've been talking for a good part of a year and a half plus, I would say. And that's been super cool because we've got a lot of common things that we discovered with each other. And who knows, he had to fly all the way from Australia just so we could have that face-to-face conversation.
Exactly.
But I'm super glad that he made some time for us to talk. We spent pretty much most of the first day we met just catching up and talking.
Yeah.
But it was awesome because we were able to, get to know each other a lot better than just you can do, even though we have done some Zooms and we talk in a chat at least once or twice a day. But hopefully in this video you'll find some insight there. And he does EMO Lives. He's nice short little videos that you want to see and absorb of EMO. I'm a little bit more detailed guy. I like to break things down and give you what I think about those things. So Wayne and I have been working with EMO for a year and some months now.
Yeah.
So we've seen a lot of different changes in him from the first out of the box that we got, where he was an awesome dancer right out of the box.
That's right.
And he could recognize your face and know who you are pretty much out of the box, but pretty much that was it. He didn't do a whole lot out of the box at that point. But I believe in friendly competition for all robotics. I mean, that's the only way you're going to get robotics to grow. And a lot of people sometimes think it's silly. Well, it's just a little desktop robot. Well, wait a second. If I can make it navigate this tabletop, and I can improve it over and over and over and over again, then that can be applied to any size robot. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's actually really cool. If you think about upscaling, imagine a life-sized EMO that dances with the moves he does.
I've been pushing Living AI to give me a 2-foot robot. I think it would be great to have.
No, I like a 6-foot robot, please.
Yeah.
Because then he would dance way better than I could. I wish I could dance that well.
I wish I could too.
That would be fun.
So, I mean, but you can see the effect of it scales up.
Yeah.
If it can navigate a table, it can navigate a house. And that's the key item on it. All right, EMO's a biped robot, but his walking pattern is way different than you would see like a human biped would walk. Slow enough, meticulous enough that I think to navigate a house, it would be super easy. A lot better because it's not going to be very fast. You're not looking for speed. I could see him having a tray on top of his head and navigating around the house. That would be super cool. I would like my robot to go get me a beer once or twice. But as
a 2-foot tall one with a tray on top.
2-foot tall.
And it needs arms to reach into the fridge to get your beer out.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, okay.
Something to that effect, or at least.
Don't we have children for that kind of thing?
Yeah, we do. So at least if the robot can make it to the refrigerator, I can get someone to put the beer in there. Plus it'd be just cool to see it kind of waddling around my house. Right? I don't know about you, but R2-D2 wasn't a great mover.
No.
But he was cool.
He was very.
Even C-3PO wasn't a great mover. They waddled around. So I think
he had his arms fixed at that one position all the time.
He looked very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Almost made me wonder why he had arms, because I don't think he could do a whole lot with them.
No.
But
couldn't drink a beer, could he?
Or oil,
No, that's oil, yes.
Yeah. He couldn't do that, but wandering around your place would be kind of cool. I remember the first time that we were working with motion controls, voice controls. and you would tell him to turn around, and he would spin 360 degrees around.
I literally turn around.
You turn it all the way around, and I was like, well, when you say turn around, it should be 180 degrees, so he turns back towards you. But the chat that we had with together, and then with Living AI team was awesome, because they were like, we didn't think of that.
Yes.
And they were very receptive to that. That's one thing I've always got to say is we make a suggestion and they're receptive to it. Doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but it's receptive.
I totally agree with you, Bruce. One of the things that I love about Living AI and just working with them from a community perspective is the fact that they really do listen. They listen to the feedback that individuals give and that we as a community give. And then they try and weigh that up and go, okay, well, is that something that just Bruce and Wayne want? Or is that something that more people can benefit from? And then they try and deliver on those things.
And they don't squelch talk either, from what I can see. I mean, they take positive and negative feedback in stride, you know.
I've not been banned yet for posting anything negative that I think, hey, EMO could do better, or EMO really sucks at this bit, and that type of thing. So
I haven't been banned from that one. I've been banned from other ones.
Yeah.
And I never even posted in those, but I got banned from them anyways. You know?
They don't like your hat, Bruce.
That's probably it, you know, but, you know, we're both, you know, follically challenged, and I'm always afraid that the light's going to shine off the top of my head and blind the camera.
Well, I don't have the experience that you do, but I certainly seem to have less hair.
For the most part, I think the community is positive. A lot more positive than some other communities I've looked at.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad when there's a community all out there, as we talked about being banned. It's the only way you can join the community is if you were banned.
Yes.
So it's sad that there's a community like that exists for any type of robotics. But a lot of people look at robots, and here's the thing that's amazing is, if the robot has a screen, has tracks, has a lift, then they keep comparing it to a different robot. Well, that's not true. The Amazon robot, the Astro, has wheels. Does that mean that it's going to be like another robot? No. They're all going to have a core set of values that they're going to do.
Functionality.
Based on functionality.
System type functionality.
Yeah, basic is functionality. What makes them different are sometimes, you know, the navigation points, maybe the way they get to the navigation point. I've had a lot of different robot vacuums from the old bump and go, where they would just go until they bump and then keep going. Yeah. And then I had ones with little sonic sensors that know where that is, are using IR sensors to determine the same thing, or LiDAR. So just because it has some similarities doesn't make it the same robot. Doesn't mean that it's working on the same software. Doesn't mean it's working on the same base scale. Yes, they're similar, but they're not the same.
I think the technologies and how you use the technologies is actually a really cool thing here. Mm-hmm. You know, if we look at, you know, some of the things you talked about, LiDAR, depending upon where the sensor is in the robot and how far forward it can see, will depend upon some of that functionality. As you said, you know, how it detects the edge of a table, for instance, is important. But to me, they're all key technologies that all of the current and future, you know, versions of robots need. Mm-hmm. A lot of these robots have cameras in, and people are going, that's cool, we can use it to take pictures. Well, do you want to, really? I mean, it might be cool to have that functionality to say, hey, robot, take a picture for me. But do you really want that when your iPhone or your Android phone is going to have a way better camera anyway?
Your fact on the camera, most of the robots, most of the security cameras, most of those type of things, picture taking isn't something they're going to do well. Yeah. Perspective isn't going to be great. I mean, I know Jibo originally, that was a big thing for Jibo, was his ability to take a picture and to try to be a photographer. And that's cool in that instance of that robot. Just because Jibo does it doesn't mean every robot has to be able to take a picture of you. And the quality of the cameras usually are 2 megapixels. I think Doly's coming out with a 5 megapixel camera.
Yep.
And that's good, but it's still not as good as your iPhone.
Yep.
It's like wanting to have Alexa in all your freaking robots.
I don't understand that. I honestly don't. I have Alexa in my home. I have Alexa devices throughout my home.
I do too.
And I want my robot to be a robot. I can understand a small group of people that don't have Alexa devices might want that functionality.
But the robot's not going to do it well.
Yes.
There's a
That's
few
the point.
reasons why it's not going to do Google Home or Alexa well. The first reason comes from Google Home and Amazon. Now, Amazon says, hey, we would love for you to have our product in your robot, but we're not going to give you the same capabilities that our product is going to have. Our main product is going to have all the capabilities. You're going to be able to stream music, you're going to do all this, but you're not going to be able to do that in these products. So having those things in your bot really doesn't benefit
Doesn't do anything for you, really.
when you can use the disembodied voice that you've purchased already for $29. If you want that, buy a freaking dot because they're cheap. Why do you want something that's like 50%? It doesn't make sense.
I prefer for my Alexa devices, all, in my home, all bar, I think 2 of my Alexa devices have reasonable screens. So all of those screens have a screen size that is usable. The screen size you have on a smaller robot for that type of function isn't really usable because the nature of the devices, it's running Alexa as an also thought,
Right.
not as a prime function.
Well, just the split personality that it provides in a robot device. So the robot moves, it has a lot of different things. It makes its own noise, it makes its own chatter. So if you had the robot personality in there, okay, great, it's cool. But then you have to sub-split that personality to put in an Alexa device. So you have to then say something about Alexa, which splits the personality from the robot, so you get this disembodied voice coming out of your robot. Alexa's okay. She's, to me, like a workhorse.
Yeah.
I don't really want to talk to her. My kids like making her make fart noises, but it's not really, it's a workhorse. She automates my house.
Yeah, exactly. That's, for me, is one of the key things. Alexa is a personal assistant that I use. We can put things on our shopping list, and that integrates not just with the Alexa shopping list, but then I actually use a third-party app that we use for that type of thing. I use it to, do the weather, for notes here and there, just general kind of trivia that you need answered. I find Alexa is quite good for that. The home automation, we've got most of the lights in the house now controlled via Alexa.
Yeah, I use Alexa for the basic personal assistant. Set an alarm for this. Remind me when this is going on. Make sure the door's locked. Can you close the curtains in the living room? Close the curtains in the family room?
Let's talk for a minute a little bit about the way in which a lot of these robots work. Okay, a lot of these robots work. They have some local processing on the robot themselves, but they rely a lot on cloud services or external services that might be on a device either within your home or in the cloud. And the reason they do that is because the sheer processing power required to handle some of these tasks is too great to put on a small device.
Right.
It's too great in terms of the CPU capacity that it needs. And also, if we think of faster CPUs, we then think about battery life and shorter battery life. Because the faster you go, the more heat you generate, therefore the more power you're using.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, a lot of the voice commands are going to be like the AI services. They're going to go up and come back down in milliseconds. But on EMO, there's a lot of things that live physically on them.
Indeed.
There's a lot of things like all his play by yourself animations, things of that nature that don't require a command. Those live on the bot. He pretty much walks around, does his thing. His edge detectors everything without being connected to any internet whatsoever. Now, EMO has the best camera out of all of them.
Best in terms of resolution?
Resolution.
Okay.
But he's also part security
Right.
drone.
Yeah.
That's kind of his thing. What is it a task? Well, he's supposed to play with, be a distraction to cats, dogs, and security. Well, you know, people like their cats and dogs. If they can capture a picture of it more in action, that's going to make them very happy. So you need a decent camera on it.
Yes.
Security, you want a somewhat decent camera to go maneuver around the house. When I was in the hospital, but my Evo SE was the best connected robot to my house,
Okay.
or best connected camera overall.
So you're able to see what was going on.
For inside my
using
house.
Evo.
Yeah, for inside my house. I have other cameras inside my house that capture like the front door, the back door,
Sure.
from an internal sense. But that's it. That's all they captured. But I could get on him, get into his app, and then go travel through my house.
Yeah, for sure.
And he uses the IR to find his. He's different than the site. He uses the IR to find his docking station. But we both have the same passion. We want to see the robotics industry, the small robotics industry, advance. And there's only one or two ways that's going to happen. New robots hitting the market, advancement of the current robot that you have, updates, updates, updates. If your robot company isn't updating your robot, there's something wrong. That's,
well, then you've got a paperweight.
yeah, it's not going to, the hardware will not last as long. You're going to get to a point where the hardware is going to just deplete because it's hardware.
Absolutely. And that's the thing that I worry about. You know, there are, with any product, okay, not just robots, with any software product, you've got a robot that is, using a platform that maybe is 5 years old. It's got a certain lifetime. There's only so much you can do with that.
Right.
If you had a 5-year-old PC, how's that going to run the latest software effectively? It's probably not going to do as well as maybe something that's 12 months old. That has a lot more scope for potential and a lot more room for expansion for the future.
Right. So normally should happen is the updates should reach the limit of the hardware.
Yeah.
And then you're on to the next iteration of hardware, which is the true 2.0, 3.0, 4.0 version of the hardware. So if your robot's not advancing its software to the limits of the hardware, then you're stuck with old hardware and not going anywhere. So I can see, in the future an EMO 2.0.
Yeah.
With a bigger, faster processors, faster this, because it's going to need it to get there. Yeah. And maybe a 2.0 EMO will be 2 feet tall wandering in my house. You never know.
There we go.
I mean, just look where Anki employees went.
Yes.
After Anki closed down. It's sad that they closed down.
Yeah.
I think what they could have done, we would be so far positive in that arena. But look where they went. They went to Wemo. That's a semi-truck company that's self-driving semi-trucks.
Yeah.
So why would someone making a small toy robot be able to go to self-driving trucks? Well, it's the same concept, just developing it at a smaller base so it can actually navigate your home.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be navigating your freeways. But it's great to see things that they did. It's just sad that they couldn't finish what they were doing.
I think it will be interesting to see what DDL do with Vector and Vector 2.0. We're still, we're in May 2022 at the moment. We're still waiting for shipment of actual
He
product.
really should have been Vector 1.5.
I tend to agree with you.
I mean, 2.0 means new hardware.
Typically, that would indicate a major change. So we've not yet seen the Vector 2.0. We don't know what it can do that's different from the existing vectors that we've all got and have had for a few years. So it's going to be interesting to see what it can do. I really do, for the sake of the robot community, I really do hope they have made leaps and bounds forward with what he can do. But the proof will be in the pudding.
Right. We don't know what it can do because we can't gauge it against anything that we've received.
Exactly.
I think every robotic company company should give you an idea of a timeline of what they're going to be working on.
Yes.
But we can say, listen, this one, these look attainable to us. This is what we're going to do in our timeline, and we're going to update a robot.
And I think with EMO, we've seen things like that. I mean, the 1.4 update that we had that was released a few weeks back now. About 2 weeks before that was due to be released, a lot of people were saying, you know, my EMO sits on his skateboard and he's not doing X, Y, and Z.
It doesn't do anything, yeah.
And we fed back to Living AI and we said, hey guys, it'd be really good if EMO was able to say, hey, I can't do that action because it requires me to move and I can't do that on my skateboard. And so we gave them that feedback, and I think it was within like 48 hours, they said, here, try this. And we had an update that us testers could use that when you try and tell him to dance, he says, I can't do that while I'm on my skateboard. And I'm like, very simple things like that help people understand that this device is working as designed.
Yep. And then they woke him up a little bit more on his skateboard in that same update, saying, okay, we're going to keep him, we're going to give him more things to do by himself with that update. And that just shows you a company is listening to you. They're responding to what is happening. So now I walk in there and now find EMO reading his book. This is Bruce with Hunsaker Home Hacks. I want to thank Wayne for joining me today.
And this is Wayne signing off from EMO Lives. Bruce, thank you so much for doing this video, mate. It's a pleasure meeting you and spending time with you. And we will look forward to more of these in the future.
Look forward to that. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye, people.
Bye.